In this video, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to set up a web page, to create a web page, and I'm going to add two extensions, what are called extensions, to Visual Studio Code in order to make my life a little easier. So I'm going to start off by typing code and get Visual Studio Code going. I'm going to, as I say, add two extensions. Over here on the left, down here, this last little icon down here is the extensions. And it gives me a search bar right now. I have a sort of a clean Visual Studio Code. I don't have any extensions installed. I'm going to install ESLint. And that is to help me with JavaScript. And this particular extension was written by Microsoft. And so that's going to help me with JavaScript. So it's going to, as I'm typing JavaScript, it will understand it. And then the other one, the other extension I'm going to install is called the live server. And I'm installing that. So a normal web interaction, your browser serves as what we call a client, and you type in a site address, or you click some link, and your computer goes up to the internet and finds that a web page somewhere on the internet. So it finds the web server for that page, and then that page so it makes a request for that page, then the server prepares that page and sends it down. So it's a normal interaction between at least two computers, or maybe many computers in between. So there is the requesting computer, the client, and the replying server, the replying computer, the server. If you are sort of developing a web page on your own computer, as we're going to do, and you just sort of click and open the file in a browser, you're not going to have that full client-server interaction. It's just going to sort of open it as a client. And so what this live server does is gives your sort of single computer this ability to pretend to be two computers in some sense, or be playing at least both roles. So that's what that second extension. So the first extension was to understand JavaScript, which we will be writing, not in this video, but in subsequent videos, and the live server. So it can act sort of the one computer, or Visual Studio Code can sort of pretend that this one computer is two computers serving both of the roles of a normal client-server web page interaction. Okay, so we've installed the extensions, so I can close that extension now. I'm going to, when I use the live server, Visual Studio Code would like me to open up a folder. So it doesn't want me to open, eventually I'm going to make a web page, which is a file, but it wants me to open a folder and then open up a file within that folder and work from that. So I will make it happy by saying open a folder. And let me see, documents, and then I'll make a new folder for some JavaScript. This one won't have any JavaScript. Other things in my folder will. Okay, so now I've opened a folder in Visual Studio Code, and then I can make a file either by going File, New File. That's not what I'm going to do. When I opened up the folder, it put it in the Explorer, so you can see I can have the Explorer opened or closed. If I have the Explorer open, then I can use this to create this icon here to create a new file within that folder. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll say that it's hello.html. Okay, so I'm going to make a web page. It's called hello. Its name is hello. Its file extension is HTML. And the file extension is going to help the computer understand the role of this file and so then it will know how to handle it. So the thing about Visual Studio Code is it allows you to do a number of things. Web pages is just one of them. But when I open a file and give it the right extension, then Visual Studio Code is going to identify it and then use the sort of right extension. So I had ESLint. So JavaScript can go either in HTML, within HTML, or it can go in its own separate .js file. And so both of those will sort of trigger the ESLint extension to sort of say, hey, you might be used here. So enter. So now I'm going to use a sort of a shortcut to create my web page. So I'm going to type an exclamation point, and that is giving me this thing called the Emmet Abbreviation. And I just hit enter, and it gives me this sort of boilerplate, this sort of start of an HTML page. And I'm going to add an HTML comment, which is, I'm going to call that that less than sign. I'm going to call it an open angle bracket. So it's open angle bracket exclamation dash dash, and then the end of it is dash dash close angle bracket, and then I'm going to say used the abbreviation. That's not associated with any of the extensions. That sort of came automatically with Visual Studio Code. And that's usually right, that I usually have found that I have this, but I don't, not always. So it is, I wanted to give you the name of this so that you could do some searching if it's not working for you. When I've typically found that when it's not working, if I close Visual Studio Code and open it back up, there it is working again, but that's not always. But there are settings, I should say, that are associated with this Emmet abbreviation. So you can sort of, Google it, find some help, and maybe your computer will need the particular setting. So let me save that. So I'm getting right now some indenting. I don't always get this indenting. So let me unindent something that is, and show you that you can right click and format the document, and that gets things to sort of line up. So HTML uses these tags. Sometimes the tags work in pairs, like HTML has an open HTML and a closed HTML. Body has an open body and a closed body. Head has an open and a close. Title has an open and a close. But these meta tags here, the comment and the meta tags are sort of work by themselves. So, but then also you can put tags. If you have an open and a closed tag, then if you put something, you can put other tags inside a tag. If there's an open and a closed tag, you can put things inside there. So it is sort of a container, and then you can put things within the things. So I can put within this head tag, I can put the title tag, and then I can put the word document in there. Or if I wanted to control the style of this word, then I might put a style tag in there. So I can put tags within tags within tags. That is this sort of tree structure. And so the indenting helps you, that formatting, that indenting helps you sort of watch the tree structure. So this title was on one line, but if I were to put it on different lines, then you see that the title tag and the closed title tag are at the same amount of indented, but the contents, the word document is indented. So that's just helps you sort of see the structure of the. Now you don't need that. The browser will run the page if you don't have that, but it's just useful. The formatting is useful for you to be following the structure. So the HTML page, the HTML tag had here an attribute telling you that the language was English. There was a head tag. Most of the stuff in the head is not seen. The one exception to that rule down here is the title. The title of the page is seen in the tab. So, and there's right now we have nothing in the body, but let's just show for now that let's save this. The little one up there said that I had edited without saving, so it was a hint that I needed to save. Down here it's telling me I need to install something, which I will do at a different time. Okay, so I want to like open up this page in a browser, and that's what that live server was for. So I'm going to do a right click and open the live server. And it opens up a browser, in this case, Edge. I like to use Edge. It will use as default because Visual Studio Code is a Microsoft product, so it will like to use Edge as its default browser. You can change that setting if you don't like Edge. Edge is not on my computer, the main browser that I use, but I do like it for testing purposes. I like the browser that I'm using for testing purposes to be different, so because I don't want it to open my Chrome, which is probably already open with 3 or 4 tabs going. I like it. I like what I'm testing to be sort of a one-off. So when I close it, I'm not screaming that I accidentally closed something that I had open and wanted open. So here is this blank page with the word document up here in the tab. So again, so we can change that to hello, save it, and it changed. I can hit refresh if I want, but I don't always need to hit refresh. The live server tends to do a fair amount of updating without refreshing. It knows that we've changed here in Visual. The browser was opened by Visual Studio Code, so changes in Visual Studio Code tend to be seen. Okay, so let's see. If I type world, it's not seen yet, but back here, if I save it, then I see hello world again without having refreshed the page. But that's part of the property of the live server. Okay. So I'm going to make just a little header tag, an H1 tag down here in the body. And it is an open close type tag. In the body is normally what we see in the main page. I'm going to just say hello world again. And then I'm going to add a paragraph. So that's just a little P tag, open and close P tag. And then I will say, this page is demonstrating. I can't type, that's what it's demonstrating. This page is demonstrating a simple HTML page. Really demoing how to make it in Visual Studio Code with these extensions, but once the page is made, it won't know sort of how it was made. Now, I didn't say what these meta tags were. This meta tag is telling us the character set I'm using. I'm using the sort of normal English European language character set. That's UTF-8. This is about the device and how to open it and how to, sorry. This one is about the device and sort of it wants it to be scalable for you to be able to open it on a phone or a tablet or a computer. And so that is what this meta tag is about, to sort of make the page adjust to those various things. And this, again, this is a very Microsofty thing, telling you if you were to open this with Internet Explorer browsers, which one should you use? And this is now a bit old-fashioned, because if you're going to open it in you're not really going to open an Internet Explorer anymore. You're going to open it in Edge. But that's what this was saying. Your version of Internet Explorer should be thought of as Edge. Okay, so let's now look at this page. There it is. This is this up here, the hello world. Let me say hello world header here, and hello world title there. And just to make that distinction, so this was in the head and was the title, and then this is in the body, and it is the H1 tag, and then this was a paragraph. And there are all many other things you can make on the page and give it color and so on. We're going to keep it simple. This was more about the Visual Studio Code and its extensions, more so than the web page. But we did learn a little bit about a web page if you didn't already know it. We have the tags, we have the formatting, and we have the head and the body. I always say that it has no neck. So the head, there's a body, there's nothing in between, so there's no neck. Browsers tend to be pretty forgiving. So if I put the header up here, if I put this H1 tag up here, it will work. The browser will figure it out, but I would say that it is incorrect, that things that are on the page belong in the body. The only visible thing in the head is the title, and that belongs on the tab. So that's what I wanted to show you. Visual Studio Code. We added 2 extensions. We added the ESLint extension for understanding JavaScript, which we didn't use yet, and the live server, which we did use. The live server wanted us to work with a folder. Right-click and opening the folder with opening the file with a live server. If I hadn't made the folder first, it would have complained. So the live server wants me to make a folder, which I did. Then I made a file. Then I used the Emmet Abbreviation to get a lot of this code written for me. And I added a comment. I changed the title. And then I added in the body this H1 header, and the H1 tags. That header is more of a visual thing, so that it's telling you H1 will be defined to be for certain larger font, and maybe bold and on a line by itself. And so we see all of that styling is abbreviated in this, just having this H1 tag. You can control that style yourself if you want, but it's just giving you some automatic things. And there are H2s, which will be a little bit smaller writing and so on. So there are H2s, H3s. So there is a normal size font size, which again, we can control, but we're not here. We're just working with the default. And there's a default H1, and which will be larger, bolder, on a line by itself. And that can all be controlled with styling, but we're just working with right now the default styling. So that's what I wanted to show you. Thanks much for your attention.